Discipline is integrity, and integrity is love. When you are out of integrity, especially consciously, so if you consciously choose to get out of integrity, what you can look at it as is you're within God, you're in the warmness of the Lord, right? What happens is when you get out of that, you're in the cold. And what do you do when you're in the cold? You start grasping for things, for air essentially. You start grasping for comfort. And that can look in the form of anything on the worldly world, on the 3D. Food, alcohol, sex, caffeine, anything that gives you a hit, you start reaching out for. And what can happen if you have addictive personality like I do, like I had, and I likely can still go into, I have to be very careful when I get a taste of pleasure, if any of you relate. But what can happen is you keep going further and further into that. Why? Because you're looking for salvation on the other side. It feels so good in the moment. I didn't coin this term, ChatGPT did. It's almost dissociative. Some of us who have addictive personalities, when you get a taste of sex, you get a taste of porn, when you get a taste of alcohol, anything that hits the dopamine receptors, pleasure response, you sometimes you feel like you can't control it at all. And you can't. That's why you have to really either limit it consciously or remove it completely. But what happens is you find so much quote unquote peace in that. It's not real peace, but it's temporary peace because it's a little escape. Yeah, you keep seeking it out, but then you never find what you're looking for. So what are you looking for? What you're looking for is a higher power. What you're looking for is a connection to your mission, right? We talk about the North Star. When you connect your heart to your North Star as a man, everything else is to serve that mission. So then you see it's higher. We're pointing up for a reason. It's higher. Who you are here on the 3D, take care of your training. Take care of your body. Become a weapon for that North Star. Take care of your nutrition. Become a weapon for that North Star. Take care of all these things, guys, that serve the highest mission. Why? Because when you're so passionate about it, that's all you want to do. That's all you want to do is you want to serve that mission. So my message today is integrity is God. Well, let me go back for a moment. Integrity equals love, and God is love. Integrity equals love, and God is love. So there's something to this, and I'm still trying to understand this myself, but what I notice is when I'm on point, when I'm hitting my standards every single day, when I'm sticking to my diet, when I'm hungry as fuck, and my mind's saying, oh, just have a little bit of food. For example, this whole month I committed to 2,200 calories, which is an insane low number as well, based on activity. And my mind making excuses, Spencer, it's not enough food. You want to really rest. You want to make sure you have that. And I noticed that thought, and what can happen in the past, I accept that thought, then what happens? Then the behavior occurs of like, all right, let me eat a little bit more on Sunday, and that leads to the whole thing. Gentlemen, if there's a commitment, there's a fucking commitment. And that's one of the biggest things that are wrong with today's society is just coddling. It's saying, like, hey, man, and there's balance. Don't get me wrong, there's balance. Be careful what you commit to. First and foremost. Because if you commit to something that isn't serving your highest mission, that's your problem. And it's a practice to take a step back and not do it again. When someone asks you, hey, do you want to commit to this? Or you ask yourself, hey, you want to commit to it? Or maybe you're in a coaching container like Paladin. You're like, hey, you want to commit to this? Take a moment, guys, and take a step back and ask yourself, do I want to do this? Always pause for at least 5 seconds. Because if you say yes, then you're locked in, bro. And you have to practice that. And yeah, you can pull out, but like that's emergency. And it should really be something that is necessary. And I know that can sound extreme, but when you operate like that, then you have a superpower. What's that superpower? You're a man of your word. And I surround myself with people who are men of their word. I've cut people off in my life who are so slippery. Like they say, I'll do this, and hey man, I'll give you a call here, or hey man, I'll see you at this place, and they don't show up, or all this stuff. I'm like, I don't want to go to war with this man. And that's what I surround myself with. The 5 guys I hang out with the most, these are guys I would go to war with. But the question I have for you is, would you go to war with yourself? Would you go to war with yourself? And when you look yourself in the mirror, you can always tell by a man's eyes, is he holding his own? Is he disciplined? Is he doing the things necessary to become better? Or is he lying in comfort? I'll be honest with you too. One of the biggest things, I would watch TV and eat popcorn every night. I really would. I know that sounds weird, but like for some reason that's like, I love that. I love like that escape. But guess what I feel every time I do that? Emptiness. But guess what I feel when I'm uncomfortable about doing something and I know it's going to help me grow, but not just me, it's going to help more people grow around me as I impact them? Expansion. But it starts with your integrity. Integrity equals love. It's love for yourself. So when you're consciously choosing not to be disciplined, it's a form of self-hatred. It really is. Freedom is not having a free schedule. Freedom is sticking to your word on a daily basis. And remember the difference of what we talked about, guys. There's discipline, which is for the 3D, push, and divine discipline, sacred discipline, which is being pulled to something greater, your highest cause, your highest version of yourself. Which one are you going to choose? And guess what, man? The body represents that. You know, you're not chasing the body here in Paladin. You're building the body rep by rep like a statue. You're forming it. But the body is a symptom of what? Of you showing up at the gym. You doing what you need to do. You tracking your calories. You hitting your weekly check-in form, whatever it is. But when you get out of that integrity, you're out of love, which means you're out of God. And you will not be favored if you're not in integrity. So, the message today, integrity equals love. Be very careful with your commitments. Be very clear with your commitments. Your word is bond. And when you walk around like that, man, you're on fire. And people feel it. Everything in your life starts to get easier. It's like starting a fire and stoking the fire. Every time you keep your word, you stoke that fire. So what happens? It's a raging bush, man. It's a raging fire that you can use and implement in different ways to get to where you need to be in life. Crush it this week. Stick to your standards. I fucking love you guys. Peace.